welcome to the Oracle of Lilith. Today I'm doing an Oracle of the Day, so welcome. If this is your first time to my channel, hi, hello, it's so good to have you. I hope you will consider subscribing to my channel and becoming a member of my tribe. If you're a returning subscriber, hey guys, what's up? How are you doing? It's always good to connect with your energy, and I truly appreciate you being here. So today I'm doing a general reading. This is a general collective message. There'll be some channeled information as well. Keep in mind, this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest behind. I do offer personal and private readings and sessions. All that information and my social media will be down in my description box below. So I'm going to pull from the True Love Oracle. This is a really beautiful Oracle deck that I got recently, and I love the energy. So we're going to see what's up within the collective. I know there's a lot of grief and sorrow right now about everything that's gone on, and my heart really goes out to the families and to our collective as we continue to be in the cycle of mourning and grief. And it's really deep and profound, and I feel a lot of sorrow. So yeah, we got to do something about this, you guys. It's time to wake up. Wake up to reality. It's time for you to see what's going on around you. A lot of us have been asleep. You know, we've been asleep in the illusion, and you know, we can't change what we continue to deny. So we have to see the truth of humanity, and it's being revealed in really painful, sorrowful, grief-stricken ways. And we need to pay attention, and we need to listen to each other. We need to hold space for truth, okay? All right, I'm going to get 3 cards. Looks like 4. Okay, 5. Okay, let's just go ahead and pull them all. 6, 7. I think this is 9. We'll see. We'll see what we got. Okay, the first one is Sacred Woman. Ooh, this is a powerful time to pull this card, huh? Yeah, the Divine Feminine is really being energetically. Let's speak about energies here. The energies around the Divine Feminine, especially since the Dark Feminine has been rising, the Dark Divine Feminine, there seems to be a need to try to, again, oppress her energy. This is energy, not gender. And instead of how it's been in the past, where they haven't had as much resistance, there's been resistance, but this time it's different because the Dark Divine Feminine has woken up. And there's a lot of sacred women, sacred feminine energies, I mean this energetically and not literally in gender, okay, who are awake. They've been awake, they're aware, and they've been preparing for this for lifetimes, okay? What you're seeing is the revealing of truth. And it's shadow work. It's the shadow work of humanity, and it is rough. And we need our sacred feminine energies to rise. Those that are darker, there's something about the Dark Divine Feminine that is extremely powerful. And it will cause fear in people. Not the people who know her, but the people who have been told to fear her. So liberation and freedom can be scary to people who are still enchained to the reality. Okay? All right, let's keep going here. We have self-respect. Yes, yes. You'll have to pardon my lisping and stuff. I've extracted all my teeth, and it annoys me. But I'm getting dentures soon. So and that's interesting for me to say when I pull the self-respect card, right? Yeah, we're learning to respect ourselves, to respect life, to respect the gifts we've been given, to understand, you know, how we have damaged ourselves, how we've damaged reality, we've damaged the planet, and learn to respect ourselves more. What this feels like, it feels like, you know, a wild, like, teenager who's being led to adulthood, who's learning to respect themselves. It's like an adult who continues to give and give and give in toxic ways, who is, their good nature is being taken advantage of. And we've done that on a collective level. We've done it on an individual level. And there's a lot of feminine energy that has been disrespected. There's a lot of feminine energies that have been, you know, the light, beautiful butterfly energy has really been victimized in a lot of ways. And the Dark Divine Feminine is here to bring karma. Okay, it's time to stop mistreating feminine energy on this planet. It's time to stop warring against people who are different from you. Okay, it's time, and I don't mean that personally, I mean that generally speaking. It's time for us to come together in our sameness instead of splitting up in our differences, okay? And that's a challenge. It's a challenge for humanity because our primal natures are very much about our own survival, you know, our own ego. I don't think ego's evil, okay? I think ego lets us know we're here, but ego out of control becomes tyranny. It becomes fascism. And before you know it, you know, the feminine energy on the planet is just dwindled because it's so oppressed. And it's interesting. I've heard the same thing on TikTok over and over and over. So I know Spirit's speaking to me, okay? And there is quite a few people talking about how, you know, there's a lot of masculine energies that feel like feminine energies have been too masculinized, whatever that means, okay? Sorry, my heater just came on. And the truth is that the world has not been a safe place for feminine energies. And a lot of feminine energies over their incarnations have become tired of being taken advantage of. So in order to protect this very precious part of feminine energy, they have become what appears to be more masculine. But what really they are is they are firing up their dark divine feminine, which is the heavy hitter. Okay, it's the part of the feminine that protects. It's the part of the feminine that makes sure that the inner self, the inner more vulnerable self, doesn't get like ripped to shreds. Now, in a world where it's safe for a feminine energy to be feminine, that dark divine feminine is not as prominent. It becomes prominent in different ways. But when it's called to be on guard, that's what it does. And that's what we see rising within a lot of individual feminine energies. Again, this is gender. This isn't gender. This is energy. Okay. I talk about energy on my channel. So I feel like it's rising within a lot of people, you know, no matter their gender. And they're feeling this urge to kind of speak up because they understand there's a window of opportunity for a massive group of people to come together. And once that mass comes together, we're going to tip the scale to a more positive reality, positive awarenesses. Now, I'm going to tell you, the new world, the new earth, the 5D is here. It's around us right now as we speak, okay? There are guardians and guides who have been, mostly guardians, who have literally been working in this timeline. They've been fighting for the perfection of this timeline, meaning the highest possible reality that could be manifested in this lifetime. And perfection doesn't mean like human ideas of perfection, okay? It's a different kind of perfection. I hesitate to use that word, but that's what we're going to go with. And they're lifting up this timeline so that it can make it more easy for those who are kind of in between that awakening awareness stage, can pick up on these signs that'll come forward. And there'll be signs that cannot be ignored. They will repeat until you see them. The messages will repeat until you listen to them. We're at the point where manifestation for a lot of people is not taking years. It's not taking, for some people, it's not taking months. It's taking weeks. It's taking days. It's taking hours. The time of manifestation is getting shorter and shorter for a lot of people. Okay, let's keep going here. We have serendipity. Yeah, things are aligning. They are aligning for the collective. And even though our reality doesn't appear that way, because it doesn't, it appears very sorrowful. There's a lot of sorrow, anger, there's hatred, there's a lot of negative, these are deep core issues within the human collective that are rising to the surface. We got war, we got plagues, we got famine, you know, we got abuse, manipulation, we got oppression, and, you know, violence and loss, you know, and this is coming to the surface, unfortunately, and it's hard to express the depths of sorrow that's going on in the human collective right now. But we have to stop ignoring our issues on the planet as a whole. You know, we have to start paying attention, and we have to get off our butts and be willing to do something about it. okay? And that's what's happening. We are being called. The divine feminine, the divine dark feminine has risen to help us move forward, to take action, to raise our voices. Find your voice. Part of awakening is finding your voice, finding who you are, finding what means the most to you, what you align with the most, what sets your soul aflame, what inspires you, you know? Okay, we have the divine feminine here. Okay, yeah. So what's happening is the dark divine feminine is healing the lighter aspect of femininity, and the dark divine feminine and the lighter, I don't know what else to call it, feminine energy, is coming into balance. That's what we're seeing the process happen on a global scale, on a collective scale, because many of us have done this work individually. And I've said this for a couple of years on my channel, you know, as you work towards your own coming into balance with the dark and feminine, with the shadow and light, with night and day within yourself, that begins to reflect in the collective. And that's what we're seeing right now. Shadow work, deep shadow work. And many of you who have gone through shadow work, look back the last 2 years, last 3 years of all the shadow work you've done. A lot of you have been doing some heavy lifting. You've been lifting generational issues, generational blocks. The people who work in their generations, they heal the collective. That's how it's done. Because your generation has touched many different generations, okay? It is a chain reaction. So from micro to macro consciousness, from the individual to the universal consciousness, that's the level of healing we're talking about here. And, you know, it's not easy, and it's hard because there's a lot of rage coming forward, and rightly so. We should be enraged. We should be horrified. We should be horrified as names and lists of names come out. There's going to be new awarenesses, and there's going to be more anger. There's going to be more frustration. And people are going to be very nervous. So, you know, just pay attention to your surroundings. And if you feel uncomfortable, you know, you can always leave someplace and go back. You know, it's better to be safe than sorry. If you get icky biggy feelings, you know, follow your intuition. That's why you have been practicing. Basically, that's what you've been doing. A lot of you who have awakened over time, over the last few years, you have been getting more in touch with your intuition, okay? And that's because they want you, your guides, the universe wants you to know when, you know, to move, and when to maybe put something off, how to move. The universe is going to be guiding a lot of people, okay? So listen to your intuition about people, places, and things right now, okay? It's really important. But I do feel like a lot of angelic energy, and these feel like guardian energies coming around the collective, okay? So because I think a lot of people are waking up and they're calling in their higher consciousness, and a lot of times your higher self will send in these very big, vast angelic energies, and they're not like, you know, the white kid with blonde hair with a halo on, okay? These are what's the word I'm looking for? Majestic energies. They're very vast. They're full of what some people may call a God consciousness or universal consciousness. That same consciousness is within you, and that's why you resonate with it, okay? And they all look different. They can look scary. Some people may actually start getting visions of these beings, and I call them angelic because we don't have another word for it, okay? But they are large parts of kind of a, well, they are an ascended level of universal consciousness, and they're coming into the planet, okay? They're coming into human collective consciousness to help people wake up, to help people align, to further activate intuition, gifts, and psychic abilities. Some of you guys will experience telepathy, okay? That bond that parents sometimes have with their children where they just know, that will grow stronger for a lot of people, okay? We have Rainbow Reviver. Okay, what I'm getting from this is hope. All hope is not lost, okay? In fact, we're just getting started. Hope is just getting started here, because once we're able to see the realities of where we are, we're able to see what's really going on within the human collective and what's happened. We get closer to that timeline that is right underneath. It is literally being held up. I saw a vision this morning of like guardians holding up a timeline that looks like this. It's very rainbow and colored. It's holographic. It's crystal. It's very bright, and it's very etheric. And it's being held right underneath our reality to make it easier for people to wake up right now. Okay, so just be aware of that. And how are you going to see it? Signs, repetitive messages, things that you can't ignore, or you struggle to understand. I had a dream. I've had a couple of dreams where I have struggled to understand them. And I know there's a higher message there, but I can't completely grasp it right now in this consciousness. So this is an example. So, of what might happen or what you might experience. So what's happening is that guardians are holding up the awareness, the timeline, the awareness right underneath my reality. And it's very close. I can feel it. And I know there's going to be a moment where I'm like, oh, that's what they were trying to say. And usually there's a big message behind those kind of experiences. All right. Okay. We have intimacy. Yeah. Shadow work. This is part of shadow work. Okay. And I talked about vulnerability yesterday, and intimacy is about being vulnerable with another. And I think for the collective, it feels like a lot of people feel more vulnerable. They feel more emotionally raw. Okay. And it's good to be aware of this. I think people are seeking connection as we see more of this horror being revealed in our reality. I think we long to be more connected. We long to understand, but let's be clear. There is a level of evil, of the wicked, that humanity is capable of doing that we will never understand. And it's a very hard pill to swallow, because we want to understand it, how this happens, and I'm talking about all the things that have happened, okay? And there will be a time when we may understand, but now's not the time. Now's the time to grieve. Now's the time to experience the loss, because you really do, when you honor the loss, when you feel the grief, there is an energy that's created where you haven't stifled yourself, you haven't shoved it down, you haven't made it okay. You've just sat with the emotion and given space to it. You honor those who have passed that way by giving space for the loss of them. But we can't linger there. We have to move forward. And there will be a time of moving forward where we'll understand that in order to get to a better place, in order to manifest better realities, we have to move forward. And those who have passed want us to, okay? But now is the time to kind of sit with it and honor the grief. It's difficult. We have spiritual maturity. That's where we're going as a collective, okay? We are on this pathway, and it's very difficult. There's a lot of twists and turns, ups and downs. There's a lot of sorrow, but there's also joy coming, awareness, knowledge. That's what this eye is. This eye is about awareness, mass collective consciousness, like ascending into a new reality, that life doesn't have to be this way. And in order for us to get there, we have to see a lot of different things within our collective. We have to understand that there's more going on than what we see, okay? Oops. We have forgiveness, okay? Now, forgiveness is powerful. Forgiveness, for many, not everybody, is the springboard of hope. Now, I'm going to speak as someone who has a traumatized brain, and I'm going to tell you that, forgiveness isn't absolutely necessary for you to heal and move forward. There are some things that happen to us that can be unforgivable, but that doesn't mean you linger in the anger, the frustration, the grief, and the sorrow. It means you understand and you hold space for it, and in your consciousness that on some level it will never be resolved. And there's something healing about not forcing forgiveness. When you are meant to forgive, it will come naturally, okay? Also, for a lot of us, this is about forgiving ourselves, okay? Do the best you can at the time. And when we become more aware and awake, we do better, okay? And It's not okay to like beat yourself up for things you did in the past. You were a different person then. You're a different person now, okay? So hold space for yourself, you know, and it's okay to not feel like forgiving people. It's very toxic in the spiritual community for people to force forgiveness on people. Forgiveness should be an easy, you should walk in, not easy, but when you get to through the process, where you feel like you can forgive, if you ever get there, then it comes naturally, okay? If it's forced, then you're not ready, and that's okay. It's okay to not be okay sometimes. It's okay to say, you know what? I'm not going to resolve that right now, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to keep it here. It's on the table. I see it, but while it's there and it's kind of brewing, I'm going to move on to these other things. It will be there for me, you know, and it will come back up. It'll come back up in shadow work, and what I'm getting here is on the collective level, our issues are going to continue to rise and rise and rise until we solve this issue, until we see the truth of it, okay? And the truth of it is very, very ugly. And many of you already know that. We have love, okay? We have love here. And this is really about humanity maturing its level of love for itself and for each other. You know, love is something that we don't hear about on the news very often, right? And, you know, we're all watching a movie. And love is what connects us. Love is the most strongest and most powerful form of energy in the universe. And it can really springboard consciousness. But you have to start, not have to, but you're invited to start to love yourself. Love and respect yourself. How do you love and respect yourself? You hold space for your voice, for how you feel, for your sorrow. You know, you don't force yourself to be forgiving. You don't force yourself to be nice. You're authentic to yourself, right? And this also means you don't have to explain yourself to people when you say no. The first love that you need to really have, you should, whatever, I don't like those words, you're invited to have, is for yourself. Okay, forgive yourself for what you perceive as failures or flaws, okay? And walk into the holding of, okay, I'm getting tongue-tied. There's so much energy here. Walk into the space where you can hold space for your inner child who has been misguided, misled, who has been abused, who has been silenced, you know, and nurture that part of yourself that needs healing. That's how you love yourself. You do things that are nice for yourself. You know, I often talk about, like, you know, one of the things I did, and I still do, when I do like inner child work, is I watch Scooby-Doo. I eat candy. And, you know, I laugh a lot. You know, and for me, that's healing. That's allowing expression of a part of my childhood that I didn't really get to express because I didn't have a lot of joy as a child. I haven't had a lot of joy in my life. So I give myself the gift of joy. And that helps me get to know myself better. That helps me see myself as someone I can trust. Because you learn not to, when you are mistreated and maligned, and that can be individually or collectively, you don't trust yourself. You don't trust your decisions. You don't trust the people you bring into your life. So when you start to heal this inner part of yourself, when you start to love yourself more and respect yourself, you learn to trust yourself. You can forgive yourself, okay? And you walk into spiritual maturity. Basically, what you're doing is you're healing your inner child to the point where you reach spiritual maturity. All right, you take that hurt baby, you take that hurt little one, and you love it, and you give it joy, you give it happiness, you give it the freedom to express its anger in healthy ways. You give it the freedom to express its frustration, and you hold it as something precious, and it's very healing. And it will be different for different people. Everyone has their own pathway, okay? I always tell people the pathway to your truth is within you. You have to go within this sanctuary that lies within your heart, within your consciousness. That is the doorway of your truth, okay? All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by. I hope this resonated. If it did or didn't, please leave me a comment in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you. I hope you have a most beautiful day, and I'll see you beautiful magical creatures next time. Bye, guys.